Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Tarker, and this presentation is for our Student Services Leadership class at Oregon State University. And the title of this presentation is North Seattle College Environmental Scan, Overcoming the Weight of New Brutalism. And I titled it like that, as you shall see, because I think one of the themes I can take away from doing this environmental scan is that North has put a lot of effort into overcoming the new brutalist architecture it's inherited. Um, and I think the other thing that you'll see in this presentation is the presentation reflected in my glasses. So you can either watch the presentation here on your screen, or you can watch it on the video through the lenses of my glasses. I guess it's your choice. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into this presentation. We have a picture here of North Seattle College, and there's the new brutalism, lots of drab gray concrete. It must have been fairly cheap to build with that material, which is one of the reasons they might have chosen to do that. It was also very popular at the time. But what I want to really talk about is with this slide is that there's a lot of intentionality here as far as trying to draw students up these stairs into a promenade that leads them directly to the student services area. I think that was very intentional on the part of the architects. But because that's the obvious entrance, I want to take us into the college through a different route, and that route's through this kind of cave-like area underneath the stairs. It's kind of a carport, driveway area, and when you go into there, it is kind of like a cave, and it used to be a lot more drab and unwelcoming. And this like wall here that I'm pointing out with my little pointer is used to be just bulletin boards with lots of flyers and posters hung up there that were all weather beaten due to the elements and so forth. And now we have an initiative on campus where an art instructor is commissioning local artists to design murals and having her class paint the murals as part of a quarter-long project. And that's adding a lot of color to the campus. And it does a couple things. Once it embeds curriculum into the environment, which is a very nice aspect, I think. And also the artwork that's commissioned is usually inspired by cultural issues around the Licton Springs area where the college is located or around the college community. So it speaks to the community of the college as well. And we can see another piece of artwork going up here on this pillar as well. And then there's some garden areas over here too that help create a welcoming environment to students. And so these are all examples of North trying to overcome the burden of the new brutalist architecture. So when you come to this bottom floor entrance, which I think is very significant, it even says in one of our textbooks that, the bottom floor entrance should be for student services. I don't necessarily agree with how our campus was designed, but it is interesting that this could very well be a point of entry for first-time students. Not super welcoming here. As you can see, we have a little bit of artwork. Um, but more concerning is that when you come into this bottom area, it's largely vacant. There's not a lot of activity going on here anymore. We built a new building a couple years ago, and that's kind of diverted a lot of the foot traffic over there because it's a new cafeteria, a lot of new student services aspects over there. We still have student leadership located here, as you can see from this signage, but there's not a lot of students here. We don't see a lot of activity happening. This old cafeteria is now, not cafeteria, but cafe is now shut down. And the cafeteria over here is shut down as well. So we don't have a lot of foot traffic here. And this could send a very negative signal to first-time students coming into campus. Like, what's happening here? Why aren't there any activities going on? Where are the students? And I think it does signal something about enrollment and low enrollment because we don't have enough students to fill the space. And two, we don't have a large enough capital budget to really address the issues that need to be addressed in this space. For instance, this cafeteria, we don't know what we're going to do with it. Um, excuse me, but it is an aspect of the campus that needs to be addressed. Now, so instead, let's take our entrance from the front of campus over by this bike rack here. And this isn't just a bike rack, it's a rack to teach students how to, and community members, how to put their bikes onto the bike rack on a bus, on the front of a bus. And I think that's an important thing, symbolic thing to have at the front of campus, because I think it signals two things. It signals North's commitment to sustainability and alternative forms of transportation. And I also think it signals something about education. You know, being open to education on all different types of levels, including just learning how to put your bike on a bike rack in front of the bus. So let's go up these stairs and see what we find on that promenade. Oh, but before we go there, I should point out that North is a tobacco-free campus, as you can see by all these cigarette butts littered throughout the front of campus. And I don't want to spend too much time here, but I do think this sends conflicting signals, and it was a huge debate on campus whether we should go tobacco-free, and I largely agree with that. I just think it also poses some problems, you know, because now that there are no smoking areas on campus, it does just end up driving all the students to the front of campus where they smoke. There's been a lot of irony around that, you know, because now when people pass by the college, what they see is a bunch of international students and other students just standing out front smoking. So it gets kind of at times at cross purposes, and as we can see, it results in a lot more litter right at the front entrance of campus, which I think is now problematic. But once you've gone up the stairs, we have this promenade here, which is very aesthetically pleasing, I think. We have a lot of plants and trees and a lot of signage up here welcoming students. And as we can see, student services is right up here. So we're going to walk right down this path, right into student services. Some of the signage that we have out here, I think, are also very symbolic. It signals things about the community and the identity of at North. We have students studying in the Child Care Center. We have a picture of people doing the mural that we just saw downstairs. We have somewhat weather-beaten signage. Welcome people to the global community, and including, you know, encouraging the study of different languages, including ESL, German, Japanese, and so forth. So I think this signals a sense of diversity on campus and a welcoming of diversity, and also community, and an embrace of self-expression through language and art. So pathfinding, as we come to the entrance to student services, there's a couple of pathfinding elements I want to point out here. One is this banner that's located right at the top of the building, right above student services, which is Welcome to North sign, which kind of, once again, helps draw students toward that area. Then we have these two yellow doors here, and there was recently an initiative over the past couple of years at North to paint all the doors of each building a different color. So the Student Center building where Student Services is located, all of the doors on this building are painted yellow to help direct students to the appropriate area. So if a student needs to get to Student Services, you could say, go to the second floor of the building with the yellow doors, for instance. I don't know how many people actually do that, but that is the intention, that the doors will help students navigate and pathfind throughout campus. And once again, you know, just as far as how welcoming this area is, I definitely think it could be vastly improved. I don't find this entrance terribly welcoming, and you can see some of the signage is old, and actually some of it's very out of date too. So it needs to be updated and refreshed. But if you go inside, a different story emerges. We can see a very warm and welcoming environment when you walk into student services, and that all the services are very compactly located together. So that makes for easy access for students and increased collaboration between staff members to be able to help students meet their needs as far as registration, advising, and then going to the cashier to pay for the services. And so to get to that, the three main services in this area are Student Success Services, which houses advising and houses counseling, and the Women's Center, which you can see the sign for that back over here. And this is an interesting area because in some ways it's problematic. We want to definitely one day pull the Women's Center out of here and put it in a more accessible location where it's not hidden behind this barrier here. Now, this barrier here is obviously necessary, this greeter area. It's necessary for the advisors to take appointments and so forth. But as far as the Women's Center being located back here, or I would even argue disability services, they should probably be pulled out at some point so that they're more accessible to all students. Um, Over here we have registration, and we can see that there are little banks here where students can sit down with people in the registration office to register for classes. There's also a bank of computers here that students can use to register for classes on their own. And I think they also employ people to walk around and help facilitate that as well. And then here we have the cashiers area where students can go and pay for their tuition. Now let's look at a few elements that I think help create the environment of the student services area and signal to students how we want them to behave. And obviously we want students to behave in a very professional, calm, academic way. And I think there are certain things that are here that help signal that. One is just the overall warmness and design of this particular area. I think it is very welcoming to students. I think it does create a very professional, a very calming atmosphere. We also have artwork, which I think also helps to signal that. And then we have also provide students with a lounge area to sit, work, and socialize, and another bank of computers for them to work on. And I think that signals a value of student focus, that we're providing them with this environment to use while they're in the student services area. In addition, we also provide a lot of information and resources in this area, and some of this is obviously thrown into place, and some of it has probably been there a while and needs to be refreshed. Like, for instance, we have a lot of literature here about student programs, career training programs you can see here, and other services that students can, or curriculum that students can learn about by pulling out these flyers and reading about them. And we also have this navigator area for advising to help students navigate this, the advising area. And this is obviously a new area that they've thrown a table up, put some chairs there, some literature, and hired some people to work at. Wasn't designed to be there, but it's something that they've seen that they need, and they've put into place. And if this area is ever redesigned, I imagine they'll, and this program successful, they'll implement a more permanent navigator area for the people working there. Signage is also very important, I think, and we have 3 examples of signage here. One is signage promoting classes, and in this case, the integrated studies for winter quarter of 2016, and some descriptions of some classes, like from womb to tomb, identity and place. And that's, I think, there to get students excited about learning, excited about some of the learning possibilities of the classes that they're going to be able to take and how they're going to be able to grow at North. There's also the strategic plan, which is it helps the campus identify who it is, who it will, it shows our identity, what our values are, what our mission is, what our core themes are. And so students could read that and get a better understanding of what the community at North is all about. And then finally, there's this sandwich board here, and that's obviously thrown up as a way to address a navigation need in that area, pointing students in appropriate direction for student services, for certain student services like advising and so forth. So that's a way that the staff is addressing needs with things that were not originally designed into the environment. And so once students have registered for classes, they can come into our beautiful campus, which once again we've done a lot of work to soften with artwork and plant life, and they can come here and study and excel and succeed and reach their academic and career goals. Thank you for watching my presentation on my environmental scan of North Seattle College and Student Services.